Hello, everyone, and welcome to Screen Weens, episode 167. I'm your host, London.
I'm your other host, Thomas.
And this is a cat.
Yes, indeed.
Today, we will be talking about Critters 1, 2, 3, 4, Attack, and A New Binge.
That's all of them.
That's all of them.
All the Critters.
We were gonna watch the first four, then Thomas got sick?
Yeah.
Or something, and then I went on vacation, so I'm like, we're just gonna do that, and then I got sick, so we're doing it a couple days late. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I said I wanted to start publishing on Wednesdays anyway, starting the new year, so we're good.
Yeah.
So what was gonna be the final episode of 2022 is now the beginning of 2023, and what a beginning!
A new binge, you might say.
That was good. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was 8-10 minute episodes of pure gold.
Pure gold. But, as always, we're going to talk about what else we've been up to. Thomas, I haven't seen you since last year.
Yeah. Yeah. I really didn't watch much at the end of last year into the beginning of this year. I was doing a lot of VHS porting, so I got a bunch of like blank VC or VHS tapes and an adapter, so I've just been kind of like porting anime onto VHS, and I've got like a little label thing that I'm doing. I need to find a shop that I can do some prints at, that way I can get some like good thick cardstock and do some like sleeves for them, but... Yeah, so that was like 1 week, and then I started replaying the original Resident Evil, like the...
Not the remake, like the old...
Yeah, the old PS1 one. Or I guess it's the director's cut, which is like the second version of like Resident Evil that came out, but yeah. And I got most of the way through that. I kind of just stopped recently. I was reading... some Dune for like a week.
How far did you get?
I'm around like 60-ish pages. I'm right when they're
okay.
I give me...
No, it's... I mean, I only read it on the plane there, so I'm like 200 pages in. I think Joe's like 50 pages.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, because like after this weekend, I'll be free to read. So, and when I actually have the time to dedicate to reading, I can get through it pretty fast. So
that's fair.
But yeah, no, fucking Dune's good. Enjoying it so far. But it's definitely one of those books that you want to like process as you go to. So.
Yeah.
And then finally, like around the 8th or whatever, I was waiting for my DVD copy of it to show up. For some reason, I decided my first watch of 2023 had to be Shrek. So
okay. And how was that?
It was great. I love Shrek.
You like Shrek?
Yeah, Shrek's good. Shrek is good.
You know, I was not expecting you to say that.
Yeah, no, Shrek's good. I like 1, 2, and 4. Shrek the Third is no bueno, but...
I think they're all kind of bad except 2.
I could maybe give you, like... I could see why someone wouldn't like 4. I think 1 and 2 are pretty solid, though.
Maybe when I rewatch them, I'll agree. I just, I don't... It's also not really a series that I have a hankering to revisit. I just think they're fine.
Yeah, I had the strong urge, so I went through 1, 2, and 4. And then
you just skipped 3.
It doesn't exist.
So it's got the wizard who dances around naked.
Yeah, I don't
swag.
Need that. Yeah, I don't like 3. I don't think it's funny. I don't think 4 is particularly funny either, but it's got the roar. It's got a couple really good moments like Do the Roar.
The Roar.
I don't know. I kind of like the emotional part of that, even though it's just like It's a Wonderful Life with Shrek.
Yeah.
But what is it called? Yeah, that and alright, if they're doing Shrek 5, it's like it's confirmed. Mm-hmm. But when they do Shrek 5, I swear to God, if that movie ends on oh God, I have to kiss her before midnight or something bad's gonna happen. Enough of that. I don't need any more of that plotline. That's literally in all 3 of the ones I watched. I think Shrek the Third is the only one that doesn't have the kiss by midnight.
And that's why you don't like it.
Yeah, it might be. No. Yeah, that one's just boring to me. I don't know. I might rewatch it just so I can, like, see if I still don't like it, or see if I think it's secretly the best one. I don't think that'll be the case, but, you know. But I'm definitely planning on not rewatching, I never watched it in the first place. The old Puss in Boots movie. And Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots? I don't fucking know.
Puss in Boots.
And then the new one.
The new one's good.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
People really liking it.
People are going a little, maybe too crazy for it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I heard it's got some good character development for him, so I'm interested to see.
You cannot go up on the computer. You're going to make the podcast stop if you do that. All right. Pretty cool.
Let's see. I rewatched the Evil Dead remake because I got excited for the new Evil Dead.
You just keep rewatching that.
Because this one looks like it takes place in the same universe as that one.
Definitely
it like uses
less
the same
jokey,
font.
I guess. More.
Yeah, it's less jokey. Although this one looks like it'll kind of own the schlock a little more, which I'm excited for because that's exactly what it needs at the very least. If it's not going to be a straight up comedy, and yeah, it uses like the font that like design of the Deadites are pretty similar. Like they both have like the same eyes.
An hour in, somebody busts down the door. Bruce Campbell walks in with a shotgun.
I don't know how I feel about that. I'm kind of open to the idea of a ashless.
I am too.
Evil Dead now. Like we got the show, and it was. I still haven't watched that 3rd season.
Me neither. I don't even know if I watched the 2nd one.
I did watch the 2nd one, and it was. I remember enjoying it.
It's a fun show.
It seems like it's right from the get-go a little Jump the Sharky, but it's kind of that the entire time, so it's like, okay. But yeah, I need to rewatch that show, because I'm interested, because I haven't watched it since, like, high school, so. But yeah, I think that's all I've watched. How about you? What have you been up to, generally?
Let's see. I got engaged.
Yes.
Hinata did propose to me on New Year's, and I guessed she was going. Oh, I didn't guess. I made a joke right before it happened. I'm like, wouldn't it be so funny? So I kind of ruined that.
I see.
Let's see. What was the last movie? Let's see. So Critters. So I did see. I can't remember. What was the date of our last recording? It was it a Sunday? Was it it was Christmas. We recorded on Christmas, didn't we?
No.
Oh, no, we were going to.
Yes.
So we recorded on the 18th.
Yeah, I had a rather intense Christmas, so.
Sounds ominous.
Yes.
Was it bad? Not great?
My dog is not doing well, so we normally don't leave him home alone, but we had family stuff that's kind of an obligation, so we left him home alone, and yeah, it was just not a good time, because my mom's got like a cam, so she was just stressing out the whole time. Yeah, anyway. Okay,
well, let's just quickly go through all the things I watched. Me and Pierre watched a movie called The Unhealer. Maybe the stupidest movie I've ever watched. Kind of fascinating.
It's a bold statement.
It's pretty bad, but pretty fun. I watched the Guardians movie, the Russian like Avengers one that came out.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Is that the one with the bear?
Yeah, really bad. Like I thought, like this is gonna be bad, but it like doesn't feel strung together in a way that would make a movie. It just kind of feels like a scene happened, and then they took a scene from a different movie. I watched Avatar 2 more times, the new one, so I've seen it 4 times now. And that was on the same day. I watched Avatar. And then I watched Puss in Boots, and then I watched Avatar.
Oh, nice.
So I spent like 9 hours at the theater. I watched Critters 1 and 2. And then on Christmas, I watched Zombies 3, which is a Disney Channel original movie. The first one's fine. The second one's really bad. The third one's fine. Then we watched The Holiday. So I had a hankering for some Jack Black. And I don't know if you've seen that movie.
No, but I remember we had the DVD floating around my house for many years.
I think what's so annoying about that movie is there's 2 love stories in it. There's one between Cameron Diaz and Jude Law, which is boring. It's really boring. Nobody cares about it. And then the thing that gets much less time is the love story between Kate Winslet and Jack Black, which is so much more engaging and fun to watch. But it's just like, let's give it to the boring couple instead.
Yeah.
And then I watched Matilda has a new musical out.
Oh.
Cat really wants to go up by the microphone. Just the whole episode. It was pretty okay. It was really long. It felt really long. I don't really like the structuring of it. There's like a lot of scenes that go on way too long. But the music's pretty good. And I watched 2 Disney shorts, like Christmas-related ones. I watched the Christmas Carol one, the Mickey's Christmas Carol, because I don't think I had seen it. Kind of bad. Just really weird. It's like so short that I don't think it really encapsulates like anything good about A Christmas Carol. And it's like, it might be enjoyable if you're familiar with the story, but at that point, why wouldn't you just watch like Muppet Christmas Carol or something, or better Christmas Carol?
Daffy Duck's Christmas Carol.
Yeah. And then I watched,
that exists.
It was pretty much my favorite Disney short as a kid that I remembered. There's one called Donald's Snow Fight, where he gets into a snowball fight with Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
I think I remember that. I think I just associated that and thought it was like one of the shorts on that god-awful one we watched. With
it wasn't. But I really liked that one. Then I watched Critters 3 and 4. And then while I was in Hawaii, I only watched a couple of movies. I watched When We Were Kings, which is a documentary from the 90s about Muhammad Ali. And he's like 32, and he's going to fight George Foreman. And so he's kind of out. Muhammad Ali's kind of past his prime. Yeah. Really good. Really, really good. Has some fascinating interviews, has a different, like, it makes you feel, I think it's really good if you want stuff on Muhammad Ali, but even like boxing as a whole and stuff like that. I thought it was fantastic. I watched a Charlie Chaplin short called The Rink, where he's just like rolling around a roller rink for a while. It's pretty good. It has like 2 plots to it, pretty much two different shorts kind of just plastered together, and it doesn't really work, but it's fun. I like early Chaplin stuff. And then the last thing I watched last year was this short film called Suspense, which is from 1913, and it's just about a woman who's alone.
Is that Lois Weber?
Lois Weber, yeah. And I hadn't really known anything about Lois Weber, and I was on the Criterion channel. Like, it's incredible to watch. Yeah, I'm like, this looks insane. There's a bunch of like cool transitions and cuts. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, there's like a shot that's 3 different angles and 3 different people at the same time. I'm like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen 1 or 2 of her shorts. I remember they had just done like a big remaster for Suspense.
So have you seen Suspense or?
No, I don't know if it was available at the time or if it was only available on like Blu-ray, but
it's really good.
Yeah, it's one I had been meaning to watch for a long time. I've been more kind of curious to check out more of her work in general.
And then me and Hinata rewatched Sing Street because that's one of my favorite movies. And as I get older, I realize how kind of like depressing the world of that movie is. It's interesting because as we consume things, we get different, feelings from movies. So I still love the movie, but it's a different kind of vibe. I watched a movie called Extreme Job, which I've already seen before. It's about, it's a South Korean movie about like a detective agency or a detective force. It's like, okay, we need to run this chicken shop because it's right across the street from these people we're staking out. But then they just fall in love with running a chicken shop. It's great. I watched Megan.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing a lot of mostly positive things about that.
It's okay.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
It's like, I'm kind of shocked at how much people seem to like it, which, I'm fine. Like, I'm glad.
I think it's, from what I've seen of it, it seems mostly for just the personality, though.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, so James Wan wrote it. It's by the same writing team as *Malignant*, which I really enjoyed *Malignant*. But James Wan didn't direct this one, and I think it just kind of loses something without that. I don't think it captures the tone of the script as well as it should. It was fine. There are parts that I really liked, but it was fine. I watched Critters: A New Binge. And then, have you ever heard of the movie? I'm just going to be talking forever. Have you ever heard of, it's a found footage movie / like mockumentary called Butterfly Kisses?
I don't think so.
Yo, the cat's pissing. So it's from 2018, and it's about this folk legend called Peeping Tom, who, like, it has this, like, really elaborate setup where it's, like, if you stare down a tunnel at, like, midnight for, like, an hour straight without blinking, which is, like, theoretically impossible, he'll be summoned, and he'll kind of, every time you blink, he'll get closer to you. It has some interesting, like, legends in it, but it's mostly about, like, the perversion of, like, found footage and, like, true crime in general, and how we, like, consume media. Like, it's following this guy. So this guy finds this found footage stuff of these kids doing it, or, like, these college students doing it for, like, their thesis. And he's like, I don't know where these people are, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to edit it into his own movie, because he's a failing filmmaker. So he's like, I'm going to do it myself. And they're like, why wouldn't you just take this? And he's, like, kind of holding on to this as a second chance for his own career. And there's another documentary crew following him for this, because he hires them. And they're like, why wouldn't you just film this yourself? And he's like, well, because you're not me, so people can't say it's biased or something like that. And that film crew is played by, like, the actual film crew of the movie. Like, the director of the movie is playing. A lot of layers. The actual, like, jump scares in the movie are pretty bad, but, like, really interesting. I've been thinking about the movie a lot. The guy who made, like, Blair Witch Project, like, a bunch of actual found footage directors have cameos of themselves in the movie where they're, like, talking about this.
Okay. Yeah, because I know the, like, main actress from Blair Witch kind of, like, retired after, but I know, like, the two other guys who are, like, with her on camera throughout the movie, they still do stuff and pop fairly frequently in, like, little cameos here and there.
But if you want to watch, I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
I might check it out. I've been trying to make the time for, like, a found footage, like, binge, because
it's funny because I still haven't seen Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, Blair Witch is good. I mean, at least I think so. It's one that is very divisive, and I could see a lot of people not liking, and I can understand why. But
and then I watched some other short films. I watched Critters Attack. I watched George Méliès movie. The guy who did, like, Trip to the Moon. Méliès. I watched The Infernal Cauldron by him, which is, like, 2 minutes. It's so much fun to watch, though. It's literally just a demon grabbing people, throwing them into the pot, and then lighting on fire.
I think I may have seen clips.
It's fun. It's, I've been... this year I'm trying to watch a lot of older movies again. I watched a Swedish movie called Night Games from 1966. It's really good, but it's, like, horrifying. It's about this guy who goes back to his family home with his fiancée, and pretty much, like, every other scene he'll be walking down the hallway and it'll, like, pan over and it'll be the kid version of himself and, like, transition and have a flashback scene. And it's like he has, like, an Oedipal concept, like an Oedipus complex. He's in love with his mother, pretty much. And she's, like, kind of inciting a lot of this. She likes the attention. She's a horrible human being in this movie. And there's, like, scenes where, there's, like, a scene where he's a naked child. Which, like, that's uncomfortable. Yeah. It's nothing, like, in it is, like, oh, God, this shouldn't have been filmed. But it's pretty, like, oh, God. Like, I don't think they played it at Cannes. It was one, like, they're like, no, we're not going to play this. And the film festival that Shirley Temple was a part of, like, she was one of the hosts of it. She dropped out because they did play it. She's like, this is child pornography. Like, so it was a pretty, but also apparently it's one of John Waters' favorite films. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. It's pretty hard to watch.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great movie. I'm probably eventually going to watch it again. And then I watched Discontent, which is another short by Lois Weber, but it's not actually by her from what I found out. It seems like she wrote it and she was going to direct it, but she maybe had to drop out or something. So she's still one of the credited directors, but really weird. It's like about this old guy, like he's like a Civil War veteran, and his family is like, oh, he's so sad. Let's take him out of his like group home he's living in, and he can come stay with us. But then everyone just hates him living there. Everyone just hates him living there because he's discontent with life. And then eventually he's like, I'm going to go back to my group home. I'm happy there. And they're like, we're so happy he's gone. And it just kind of ends. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Huh.
And it just kind of sides with like, oh, the rich people. They did nothing wrong.
Do you want out, little pop tart?
And I think that is everything I watched. Yes. Let's see if we have any questions from Pierre.
Oh. Let's see. Oh, man.
Let's see. Let's see. I don't think we do. Nope. We have a bunch of... I just had to block the notifications from TikTok because apparently we keep getting suggested videos emailed to us. I'm like, fuck you. Why would you email me suggested videos? Because we have a TikTok.
That does seem weird.
So I blocked that. I need to go delete a bunch of stuff. So I was scrolling through like a page of TikTok notifications. I'm like, fuck you. All right. Let's do it.
Critters.
So I hadn't seen any of these. Had you seen any of these?
Yeah, no, I had seen the first 3. I had them on VHS growing up. I got them from like a local movie store that was shutting down. And I had never seen the 4th one or the other 2 up until doing this. So that was super interesting. But yeah, no, I grew up on the first 3. So
okay. Critters 1 is directed by the same guy who did Bill and Ted, the first one.
Really?
Yeah. He also did the Three Musketeers movie with Chris O'Donnell and Kiefer Sutherland and Charlie Sheen.
Huh. Interesting.
Which I remember really liking as a kid.
Yeah, I never saw that one, so... yeah, no, Critters is kind of interesting because it's a Gremlins knockoff, but it was written before.
Yeah, the writer's like, no, it's not.
Well, that's the only reason it was made, was to cash in on the Gremlins craze, but
and
it
I'm
was
sure
written before.
The direction is still also like, let's do some things that are like Gremlins a little, you know.
From what I heard, apparently they actually had to change stuff because they were like, ooh, this is too close to Gremlins, so I guess... I don't know. Maybe the original script's floating around out there somewhere. I'm probably not going to read it though. I don't know. I'm pretty content with how the movie is overall, give or take. Yeah. So Critters is an 80s
critter movie.
It takes place on a small
farmhouse.
Yeah, farmhouse. It's somewhere in like the Midwest. And basically, I don't know, aliens crash land nearby.
Little aliens. The regular aliens too.
Yes, so there's 2 aliens that crash onto Earth. There are these little porcupine things that are... Their official name are the Krites, but everyone on Earth just calls them critters.
Little critters.
Yeah, they're critters or porcupines or... hairy balls, according to the brilliant writing of A New Binge. But
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty funny stuff there. But yeah, so basically in this farmhouse lives the Brown family. They're comprised, there's a father, there's a mother who's played by Dee Wallace. There is a son who is played by, I don't remember his name.
Scott Grimes.
Scott Grimes. Steve from American Dad and the singer of Sunset Boulevard. He's like a one-hit wonder from like the early 2000s. But yeah. And then he's got like an older teenage sister.
I didn't realize he played Steve in American Dad. That's funny.
Yeah. No, he plays Steve in American Dad. He's also like the pilot on that Star Trek show he does, the Orville.
Oh.
So yeah. But yeah, basically they have like a guy named Charlie who's like the local drunk, I guess. But he comes and helps his father out, like work on the cars.
He's the best character.
Charlie is an interesting character.
I think, before we get too much into it, I think what's so engaging for me in the first 4 entries is Charlie's, like...
Oh, I agree.
Arc. Like, he's not exceptional as he's just literally, like, a drunk, and he's like, I can do good. Like, it's like a fun little arc, but it's like... It's nice to see an actual interesting character arc that takes 4 movies.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to 4, but I was kind of shocked at 4. 4's weird.
We'll get to 4. I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about 4. Because there are things that I downright hate about it, but also it's got the same charm. I like those core 4 Critters movies. Sue me.
Yeah, no,
it's probably the Kyoto Brothers Critters effects because they're consistently good. Kyoto Brothers, they do like the Killer Clowns in space and
no, the puppets in this look fun and they look good. It's so annoying because I'll just briefly mention, like in A New Binge and Attack, like the puppets themselves don't necessarily look bad all the time, but the vast majority of the time there's not puppeteering. They're just like leaned against a wall.
Yeah,
they're not even.
It's the laziest shit, but we will get to that.
How the fuck do you like? It's so easy to make a Critters movie. It seems like
a big part of bringing your special effects to life is knowing where to shoot it from, what lighting to shoot it in, and A New Binge does none of that. It is just like, we got the puppets, good. Just make sure not to get your arm on camera. It's just like, oh my god. It's pretty...
I feel like if they did get their arms on camera, I'd be like, that's fine.
They'd be like, we'll crop it in post.
That's at least that's something to look at, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this movie, I think Charlie McFadden is an interesting character. I like seeing Billy Zane in this movie. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, look at him, little baby.
Right.
And I like Brad Brown as a character, the kid. Like, yeah, he's I think the central family is pretty decent in this movie.
Yeah, albeit I think everyone is a little on the generic side, but it works. Yeah, it works for the film's advantage.
And I really like the atmosphere of this movie a lot. I like this small town, this little farmhouse. Yeah, it feels, for whatever reason, kind of nostalgic to watch. I'm like, yeah, this is fun. Like, I didn't grow up on a farmhouse, but it feels, it feels cozy, and it makes the, like, oh no, the Krites are invading. It makes it feel a little more stakes attached to it, I guess.
Yeah. And yeah, Brad Brown is a kind of, I do like his character. He's kind of like the conniving younger brother, the Dennis the Menace, the Bart the Simpson kind of type, but he, like those characters, he does have a heart. Like, the whole kind of beginning section of his arc, he gets in trouble for shooting his sister with a slingshot. But it turns out Charlie accidentally did it, so he's kind of just taking the punishment for Charlie, which I think is super cool. Like, it's a good character trait.
Kind of weird to do for an adult, but...
Yeah, no, but it makes sense given the context that, like, Charlie is, like, clearly like almost off the deep end alcoholic, and you know, this is like his last gig. There's probably not any families in this town as charitable as the Browns, and it's not the way that the movie's trying to depict. So so he knows that, like, oh, you know, my dad finds out he shot him. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's an admirable character trait, and really helps you like open up and like fucking Brad a lot in the film. But fucking what's it called? So the critters land in their back fields, eat some of their cows. The dad and Brad see it. Meanwhile, the sister's like in the barn with her boyfriend. And
then he fucking dies.
Yeah, he dies shortly once the Kraits begin their invasion. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, there's a couple alien bounty hunters known as Ugg and Lee. Basically they've got like, their faces are just like blank. They kind of look like mannequins without any sort of design.
Green mannequins.
Yeah, just green bald mannequins. They've just got like blank faces, and they'll like watch TV or see a person, and they'll just like kind of like morph their face into them. And Ugg turns himself into
like a hair metal rock star or something.
Like a typical kind of like,
just someone who's playing music on the television, like some rock star.
Dude, when I was like 9, I thought that song was like, oh shit. I was like,
it's pretty decent.
It's not bad. It's not bad, but it's definitely a pretty generic 80s song. It's like, power of the night, hear it calling. It's just like, oh my god. But
kind of a banger.
Kind of a banger.
Sometimes generic songs can be bangers, you know?
Oh, yeah. And especially if they're, like, buried in an 80s movie.
Yeah, it's like, no, this is good. This is good. Like, nobody's ever heard of this. And they're like, wait, I have heard that. What's that from? It's like, the Critters soundtrack.
Yeah, it's like, oh, never would have guessed. But yeah, so they're slowly kind of making their way towards the Brown house. And meanwhile, the Browns are just in a fight for survival. They basically... Once it's confirmed, they're like, oh, they're little, like, porcupine aliens with razor-sharp teeth that are trying to kill and eat us. It's basically just, like, they lock themselves in the house and they try to escape. And the thing I like about these early films is, like, it seems like everyone tries to give, like, the critters somewhat of a gimmick. Like, this one has, like, the critter that gets bigger than the rest of them.
Yeah.
Eats. And I really like that.
Yeah, I think that's the best one to have a gimmick. I'm like, A New Binge does that too. That one explodes. Like, the fuck?
Yeah, that one was really weird, and it didn't help.
It was only on screen for like 20 seconds. Like, that one's red.
It's like, what? But, yes. So, there's one that's, like, bigger, and it ends up being, like, the final one. The sheriff shows up, who is played by, I don't know his name. He's a character actor in a bunch of stuff. He's in Peter Jackson's Brain Dead / Dead Alive. He plays kind of like a crooked character in that. Yeah, he is in a bunch of stuff. He is played by a completely different actor in the sequel. Oh, and I don't know if we mentioned, Lynn Shay's in this.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Yeah, she's in the second one, too. Yeah, she plays, like, the 911 dispatch in this one, and she plays, like, a journalist in the second one. But, yeah, let me see. Look at the Dead Alive cast. Oh gosh, what is that guy? He's like one of the main characters in the movie. I might be getting them mixed up with some else.
Alright, Thomas has once again lied to you.
Looking here.
While Thomas is doing that, yeah, I like the family in this, like, a decent amount. And what I like about the family is they all feel like they genuinely care for each other. Like, they, like, joke around, they, like, yell at each other. But, like, when shit like goes down, everyone's like, we're a team. We're like a saw, which is nice. And it also doesn't feel like anyone does anything like, at least in the family, like aggressively stupid or anything. Like they're all making like reasonable decisions. Mm-hmm. And none of them really like die, in the family. I'm like, this is, it's just a nice change of pace. Like there's still gore and there's still fun kills and stuff. And I love seeing the critters, but like the core family, it's like one thing I didn't care for too much in the sequel. We'll get into, but like they, you lose out on those other like family dynamics. It would have been interesting to see more of like a family that's been abandoned by the town kind of thing. Because we've seen things that like the setup to 2.
Yeah. Fucking M. Emmett Walsh is the actor who I was thinking of. I guess he's not in Dead Alive. I could have fucking sworn he was. But
I do know that guy, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's in a bunch of shit. Apparently he's in Knives Out, and I don't remember him being in that movie.
Mr. Prufrock? Who the fuck is that?
I have no idea. I imagine he's probably just like a detective or something in like a background or a very slight scene.
Oh, no, he's the guy that has the security cameras. He's like the groundskeeper, and they're like a whole scene where he's like, "You want to see the security footage?"
Yeah, I'd have to rewatch. There's a lot going on in that movie, and I only saw it once, so. But I do remember liking it, and now that Glass Onion's out, it gives me a good reason to go back and rewatch it.
But yeah, I was pretty pleasantly surprised with this one. Not even like I was like, oh, this is bad. I think it's like a good movie too. Like it knows its like audience and it knows what it wants, but it's not just like, oh, we can get away with a lot because people just watch shitty horror all the time. Like this is pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely trying, which I appreciate because as we'll find out from some later entries, they don't all try. In fact, some of them do the complete fucking opposite.
And try to not try.
I don't even know how to describe it. Particularly the last binge, but there are definitely some... I mean, compared to A New Binge, Attack looks like fucking...
Gremlins.
Yeah, it does. But honestly... They're both awful.
Yeah.
But we'll get into them.
You like this movie?
Yeah, I like it. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this one with like the farm setting, and it's kind of like a minimalist movie. There's not a whole lot going on in it.
But I think it works for its advantage in this one.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I did still quite enjoy this one.
I think what's interesting about this one is like, I would say that A New Binge and, like, Attack also probably have a pretty small budget. But it seems like this one is just like, we're trying to make the best movie we can with the constraints of our budget. And those ones are like, we're just trying to make money.
Yeah.
It's like, well, first of all, you're using the Critters IP. So that's probably, step 1 is a failure.
Yeah. I mean, as much as people like Critters and remember those old Critters movies,
you're not going to make $1 billion.
No, you might not even make $1 million. Let's be honest. Like, it's not a super big IP. Not many people remember a lot of these video store classics. They'd
like recognize the poster. They'd be like, "Oh my god, I remember that.
I've seen that poster on Letterboxd."
Oh my god, he's a funny guy. He's like, "Hey, I'm the crate. I'm the big guy."
But then the sequel is...
I'd give it a 7.
Yes, that is right. I like it.
You'd give it a 6.
Probably if I were to rate it, but...
But Critters 2 takes place a couple years later, like 4 years later or something like that.
Like 1 or 2 years later, I think.
Brad Brown's just so much bigger.
Yeah. Well, teenagers, they do kind of like... Yes. 1 year can make a big difference in that.
But yeah, Brad Brown returns to the town. His whole family's left. But his grandma's there, who was not a character in the first movie.
No.
I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like back for a holiday to visit his grandma. I don't remember why he's there.
It's Easter.
Yeah, but why would he return for Easter?
I don't know. See his grandma.
Yeah, don't you go for Easter vacation to see your grandma?
No.
What?
I'm also not an 80s farm boy.
Oh, that's right. But yeah, he's returning there, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at this freak! Seen any critters lately?" Like, the town is pretty much like abandoned him. He sees the sheriff later on. He's like, "Yeah, they voted me out because I told them it was real." Pretty much.
Also, I'd like to add, there's a scene in the first movie where Ugg and Lee, the alien bounty hunters who change faces, shoot open a church and copy the pastor's face in front of the entire audience there.
We're not gonna think about that one.
Yeah, this sequel lives for fun.
It does. It's kind of does like a Gremlins 2 route as well, where it's I feel two ways about it. Like, yes, it's fun. I do have fun with this movie, but I think that core premise is pretty good as well. Like, I like premises that are like a town has pretty much abandoned someone who was their savior. Mm-hmm. You know, like that's a good premise. So I think if it had taken, the first movie didn't take itself extremely seriously, but it had a little more tact to it, I guess. Yeah,
no, it wasn't quite as tongue-in-cheek as this one was. Also didn't have the energy that this one has. This one's kind of
almost like a slapstick movie, a lot of weird. The first main kill of the movie is the new sheriff who's dressed as the Easter Bunny.
Yeah,
and he's like, "I'm getting ready," and then a critter gets in his suit or something and eats him alive
because he fucking has his zipper undone. And he's like, "Oh, the kids are gonna fucking get a kick out of this or whatever," and then all the critters fucking just jump in. It's like, that's what you get.
Yeah. And then he jumps through the church windows dead.
And then Brad Brown and his summer girlfriend here.
They're like, "That's not." She's like, I know that wasn't. Are they real? And he's like, "No," because he's so done. He's like, "No, they're not."
No, that wasn't them. But she kind of talks him into it. So he's like, "All right, we'll go talk to the sheriff."
And he's pretty much like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, he's like, "What? You didn't see it? Get the fuck out of here! What are you doing?" But yeah. So then, pretty much just Charlie and Ugg and Lee come back because they're basically on their way.
Oh yeah, Charlie left. At the end of the first movie, he became. He's like,
a bounty hunter.
He's like, "I'm gonna do something good with it." It was pretty effective for a little thing, and yeah, he's a bounty hunter. And there's a scene where he's he doesn't feel like he belongs, and Ugg's just like, "You're one of us," or something. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, Charlie, bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlie is a bounty hunter. You're not such a bad guy. Yeah. Oh, if only he knew. Spoilers. No, I'm just kidding. Or am I?
But yeah, Charlie, I like Charlie's arc in this a lot too. He's trying, but he's kind of, woo,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like the other, is it Lee?
Yeah, Lee.
It's just I'm a sexy woman now. And then it was fine. I'm just why are they doing that?
I don't know if we explained Lee's gimmick. Lee never could land on a face.
Because Ugg,
a face that suited them.
Yeah, Ugg, you go to a body, and then if it doesn't, suit you correctly, you'll eventually go back. Mm-hmm. So Lee, keeps going into other things. And in this one, he almost becomes, Freddy Krueger?
Yeah, almost.
That was a good gag, though. Actually,
I'm
okay with and then Charlie's just like, "No, sexy woman, sexy woman."
Yeah, no.
So that I think the setup for that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I think it's mostly just why'd she have to become naked in the first part? I'm like, what the? It's you're saying that because they changed sizes before, so I'm like, why would the boobs just rip it immediately?
Right, yeah.
It mostly was just that's dumb.
Well,
if they just became naked in general, I'd be like, that's fine, whatever. But I'm just like, no, we needed to rip open to show her tits. I'm like, that's stupid.
Yeah. Well, 80s movies be doing what 80s movies
it's not egregious. And she immediately puts clothes on afterwards. So it's just, which is also annoying. I'm like, if you're going to do it, just go for it.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure the censors would have fucking taken the scissors to that.
But yeah, I mean, I like this movie. The sheriff eventually comes back, right, to help out. And Charlie like, is this the one where he, like, pretty much just, he, like, is gonna kill himself to, like, stop everything? He, like, crashes into stuff at that.
Yeah, no, he basically, like, for all intents and purposes, kamikazes the critter ball, which we haven't discussed yet, which is the best thing ever.
Yeah. The critters become a giant ball. And
they just all group together.
And they just start rolling, because they all roll by themselves, like, but then they're like, big critter ball.
And there's the part where they, like, roll over the guy and they just, like, chomp through his back. I thought that was a pretty good gag.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is this the one? I think they run over a critter at the beginning of this movie. I can't remember if it's this movie or not, but I love the look of the critter that's run over. Because he's just like, I think he was just like, oh, I forgot. In the first movie, they only subtitle the critters like once, and it's just for him to go, fuck!
Yeah, I remember that part. It's like when the one gets shot on the porch and the other one like,
fuck!
They do the subtitles quite a bit. I think my favorite ones from this is when they go to the fucking, like, the Clucker Chicken, whatever it's called. I don't remember the name of the restaurant. The Hungry Heifer, that's what it was. They go to the Hungry Heifer, and one of them gets, like, shot with the guns, but it only, like, hits his head, and he, like, looks over in a mirror, and he's just like, bitchin'! But in his critter language. And then he gets shot again and just, like, falls into the deep fryer. It's just like, yeah. So that's the kind of sense of humor that's kind of in this
Which I think mostly works. It's like, I think this movie mostly is pretty fun.
Yeah, I think this film hits, like, the good balance of it. I think that the next two sequels didn't quite nail either of the tones it was going for quite right. But yeah. So basically, yeah, Charlie fucking shoots the plane or the spaceship down into the critter ball, and it blows up, and he's a big hero, and then Ugg, to honor him, becomes him. But also, we forgot to mention a couple plot points. Lee dies. Lee gets cornered and dies, and then Ugg completely just, like, has a breakdown and just loses his form and kind of goes silent. Up until the point where there's this whole thing where they're like, we're going to put a bunch of dynamite in, like, the hamburger factory, and all the critters are going to go there and eat, and we'll blow them all up. And there's a point where, like, the breeze, like, sends some humans sent the critters' way, so they're like, oh, we're going to go eat humans. So they, like, go off. So, like, Ugg disguises himself as a really big critter, and is like, no, cheeseburgers have no bones. Like, and they're like, oh, okay, sure. So they all go back, and yeah, then it turns out he was just shape-shifting into a critter, which I think is, like, the funniest shit.
But yeah, he's like, I'm Charlie now. And then Charlie's just like, hey guys, he wanders in, he has like a parachute, and he's like, can you help me get us off? Yeah. And I'm like, Charlie! And Charlie's like, what the fuck? When he sees Ugg.
He's like, oh, and it's like the worst effect ever. Like, they try to do the, like, masking thing where two Charlies are on screen at once, and it looks like dog shit. But they tried.
It looks better than Critters Attack, probably.
I'll watch that scene over any scene from Critters Attack or New Binge.
Yeah, and then Charlie's like, he stays pretty much. Ugg's like, you're staying.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like...
It seems like they're both kind of like, his journey up there is done for now.
So, yep. So Ugg leaves. Brad leaves. The sheriff leaves. Makes Charlie the sheriff.
Hell yeah.
Just throws him the star. I don't think that's how that works. I don't even think the sheriff was the sheriff anymore.
He wasn't.
Because it's like...
He was like the sheriff again, I guess, for emergency purposes.
I mean, I guess they probably would have voted him in the town.
Because they're like, oh, I guess you were not crazy.
Yeah, but... Yeah, I don't know. He seems a little crazy, though. But yeah, so Critters 2. Which is... Fuck, what's the subtitle for this one? It's like...
Is there a subtitle?
Do
these have subtitles?
The first two did. It's like... All I Have Is A New Binge. It's something kind of close to A New Binge. Let me see.
Well, it's not on Letterboxd, at least. Maybe they were called something else on, like, the DVD or the VHS release.
The Main Course.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. It's just all I have is New Binge. It's just as bad as that is. It's gonna haunt me for a long time. But yes. So, what were your overall thoughts?
I think this movie's good. I like it. I don't like it as much as the first one. I think I like the tone of the first one a little more. I tend to like... Well, I don't even not tend to, but I like the tone of the first one more. I think that making it more like a almost slapstick comedy in this doesn't quite work for what I enjoyed so much about the first one. I still like this one. I like Charlie in this. I like Brad in this. I don't really care for any of the other characters. So I think there's less interesting characters in this one. Mm-hmm. But some of the kills are fun. I like the big critters ball. Mm-hmm. It's good. I like it.
Yeah.
I don't think anything reaches as much as I enjoyed the first one. Mm-hmm. I think the series gets worse from here, but it's usually how it goes.
Yeah, I think I like this one just a smidge more than I like the first one.
That's fair, and I get it. I think it's just kind of like the people that I know that love Gremlins 2 more. It's just kind of like the vibe you're going for. Mm-hmm. And I can see myself maybe liking this more later on in life, but I think right now I like 1 more.
That's fair. But yeah.
I'd give it like a 6. I don't like it like substantially less. I like them both.
Yeah, and I like them both too. Now on to some of the ones I don't like as much.
Critters 3. See, I think Critters 3 has some stuff going for it, you know?
It definitely does.
I like the apartment building. It's pretty much like Demons 2 or like Wreck or Quarantine. Like one of those things where we're trapped in an apartment building with them! Mm-hmm. Like, that's fun. And they can't get out and they're doing a bunch of stuff for it. Thing is, I just don't like any of the characters in this movie.
Yeah.
Besides Charlie, who shows up.
I like Charlie. I mean, obviously, I think the more interesting characters they kill off too quickly. I think the only 2 interesting characters that aren't Charlie, Leonardo DiCaprio, only for the fact that he's Leonardo DiCaprio. And
it's like an interesting watch, but and it's funny because I think he's pretty good in this, while I don't think most of the other people are very good in this.
Yeah. And then, what's it called? The landlord who's Leonardo DiCaprio's stepdad and his, assistant guy who's the maintenance guy or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I think that they're the most, interesting to watch, but, the maintenance guy and the stepfather, as soon as they get on screen, they're practically killed off. So it's you don't really get a whole lot from their characters and their performances to enjoy. Mm-hmm. They don't really milk it out, so you're just kind of left with standard characters. And even the other character who is I guess next down on the ranking for me for most interesting, which is I don't know the character's name. The one who's interested in the father. She's rides
on
a motorcycle.
Is she the one that hangs out of the building?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't remember her name.
She would probably be the next most interesting character, but yeah, she just ends up dangling outside of the apartment building
for a long time, and then it just ends she's they escape. They're fine.
Yeah, Charlie gets her down, presumably. It's just oh man, yeah. This one is it's got some things going for it. I think this one out of all of them might have my favorite Critters designs. They've got longer hair in this one, and kind of a darker color palette.
They've been growing it out.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. And this is also where they tried to start doing distinctive critters by kind of way of a stripe, where it'll have just one kind of trait about it. Got the phantom one that has part of its face missing in this one, and there were some other ones that were kind of had unique traits about them to where you could tell them apart, but I don't remember what they were now. But yeah, it's just. I don't know. The main heart of this movie, I guess, is about this kid who feels distanced from her father. And the movie really doesn't spend any time at all on that, so I really don't care.
It just feels like a setup at the beginning, and then they don't ever finish it.
Because the dad's drunk on poison from the fucking Kreitz the whole fucking movie. And it's like,
what's going on?
Okay.
It just feels like there's multiple movies in here that they wanted to make, and they didn't really make any of them.
Mm-hmm.
I still I didn't hate this one. It's just kind of weird. I like the setting, and when Charlie does show up, I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because I also like the setup of Charlie, where he's like kind of a mysterious, weird hobo in the beginning. And he's like, take this with you. Mm-hmm. I kind of wish he had a big cloak on. And then, like, you can't even really see his face. You're like, is that Charlie? And then he shows up and he has the cloak and he pulls it out and he pulls out guns.
Oh, that would be cool. But yeah, no. Yeah, there's really not much to say about this one. The scene that I always remembered from this one is the scene where it eats beans and, like, dish soap, and they just, like, start farting and burping bubbles. But, yeah.
This one also takes itself, I think, even less seriously than the second one.
It does. I'd say this one takes itself less seriously than the second one, and then the next one tries to take itself more seriously.
Yeah.
That's like...
Which we'll talk about 4. I have interesting thoughts on 4.
Yeah, 4 is an interesting one that I still don't know how I feel about. I mean, I know I kind of like it for the same reason I kind of like this one. Mm-hmm. It's a Critters movie. The Critters look good.
Yeah, like, the kills I like in this movie, and, like, some of the stuff I like in this movie, but it's just, like, most of the characters I don't care about. Yeah. And there's a lot of, like, scenes that I don't really care for. Mm-hmm. I like the central premise, like it's fun. Like we're trapped in an apartment building.
Yeah.
The landlord, he's here. He's gonna die. Like, there's fun stuff, but it just doesn't really mesh in a cohesive way for me.
Yeah.
To make it, like, enjoyable throughout.
I'd agree. Yeah, and then... Yeah, because it's like that one girl's plotline, Leonardo DiCaprio's plotline, and Charlie's plotline, and that's basically, like, the main through lines of the movie. There's really not a whole lot of meat on the bones of this one. But, you know, if you liked the first 2 and you're just craving more Critters, watch this one before you watch the... I mean, you could probably get away with watching 4 before watching this one if you really wanted to. This one doesn't really matter to 4. The cutscene that leads into 4 at the end of this one also plays at the beginning of 4. So, but yeah. Yeah, mainly just watch this if you want to know what Critters 3 is popping off about, and
if you want to see Leonardo DiCaprio when he's like 6. He's like 18, actually.
Yeah, they said he was 17, and I find that very hard to believe. He looks 12.
You don't know. He was, I think, maybe 19 in the movie. He was like almost an adult or something. Like,
he does not look like it. Yeah. Like, oh my god. He is literal baby.
Yeah.
But I guess he always has had a kind of baby face. So.
That's why he kind of looks pretty weird now. I'm like, what a strange face to have on an adult man.
Yeah, no.
It worked when he was like in his mid-30s, but now that he's getting like, up there, I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It happens. But, yeah, you would give this one like a 4?
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 4. Like, it's not terrible, but doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Speaking of 4, let's talk about Critters 4. I'm like really close to liking this movie. I'm
not there with you.
So, like, it's barely a Critters movie. It's mostly a Charlie movie, and that's why I think I like it, or at least it's eventually, yeah. Movie. And I think that when it's a Charlie movie, I really like it.
I agree.
I really like, in general, I like kind of low budget sci-fi and stuff, and Charlie gets onto this like thing that happens at the end of Critters 3.
Yeah,
he gets into a pod that's going to send the critters up into space.
He gets a little like hologram message from Ugg, who is back in his rockstar form.
Yeah.
And he's basically like, hey, Charlie, what's up? Well, basically, don't kill those. You're not allowed to kill those Krite eggs.
Because they're like the last in existence.
Yes. So
which I also thought was an interesting setup because I'm like, that's fun. Like, that adds more to this lore of, like, these bounty hunters. I'm like, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's like, basically, you need to put them in the pod. But the pod is extremely poorly designed because once the eggs are in their little thing, it just automatically cryo-freezes the entire inside.
And it's, like, all the way inside. He's like, I can't reach, so I gotta crawl it.
Yeah, so he just ends up going back to space, and he, like, wakes up it's like 50 years later, they say?
I think it's 2052, so maybe 70 years later?
Yeah, maybe something like that. A decent chunk of time.
Because I didn't really realize, like, time had passed until, like, I saw one of the main guys on the computer and saw the date. I'm like, what does that say? Excuse me?
Yeah, I thought his calendar... at first I thought it was, like, way further, because I thought I read, like, his calendar that he was, like, marking in as, like, 2532 or something like that, and I was like, whoa. But then I was like, oh, no, okay. But yeah, basically, so there's just basically like these, are they researchers or they're like freight drivers?
I think they're freight drivers. They're kind of like salvagers. I think, because they're gonna salvage something, and then they realize that it's pretty much government property.
But Brad Dourif's character is like...
what a weird guy to have in this movie.
Yeah.
He's always looked like a weirdo, you know? I love Brad Dourif, but he looks like it.
I mean, yeah, he's kind of a character actor. But yeah, what's it?
2045 is what I take.
2045, okay. So yeah, it's been a long time from when the movie took place. Apparently this was shot like back to back with 3, so...
I think, yeah, so Brad Dourif shows up and they like, there's a lot of ideas like, what should we do with it? And they're like, oh, we should go sell it, or we gotta take it to, and eventually they're like, we're gonna go take it to this, like, way station.
Yeah.
And they get there and it's abandoned.
Yeah. And they get in contact with Ugg, but he's not
like
Ugg.
Yeah, they don't call him like the...
He goes by a different name, which I don't remember. But yeah, he's basically like, oh yeah, no, we thought that was lost forever. Like, please, bring it here.
Counselor Tetra.
Yes, Tetra. But, yeah, so... basically it's kind of like... bit of a Star Trek setup, like you got kind of like your crew members in their positions, except the captain is really shitty. Looks like Tommy Wiseau, and he's very mean and very drunk, it seems like. He's also a pervert. Because the movie's got Brad Dourif, and it's got, what's the actress's name? She's like a big actor.
Wait a minute, too. I forgot. The guy who plays the captain, the one you think looks like that's the guy who plays Radu in Subspecies.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh!
That's what I'm like, something looks... oh, what is... man, I really like Subspecies. Yeah. I might rewatch some of them.
Yeah, and then Angela Bassett.
Yeah, this movie is maybe the most stacked of, like, interesting actors in this.
I love that it's got a stacked cast, but this is the first movie where Charlie's actor was credited as, like, the top bill.
Which is, like, hell yeah.
It's like,
and he hasn't been in anything, really. Like, that actor, he's not really... I think he's pretty good.
Like, he definitely probably could have.
Like, he has an interesting character arc that changes his character substantially, and I think he plays each, like, type of character his character morphs into well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I never take any of his, like, reactions as disingenuous or anything. Like, when he is sad about, like, Ugg or whatever, it comes across as very believable, but we'll get into that. But yes, so basically, so they have it, and the captain gets jealous, so he's like, oh, I'm gonna open it, so he attacks the, like, young Brad Dourif's assistant, whose name I don't remember.
Yeah, that's another problem. Like, the main thing with the movie is stacked cast, characters I do not give a shit about, besides, like, Charlie. Like, some of them are, I would say most of them are more interesting than 3, but that might just be because they're in space.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just the actors playing them, but I thought everyone except for the main kid was interesting because it's like you got Angela Bassett, you got Brad Dourif, you got Leo from Twin Peaks, who had also just watched in Silent Night, Deadly Night, 3, a week before I watched this. So I was like, oh, I didn't realize he was in so many cultish movies, huh? But anyway, so basically, they open up the thing, the Krites kill the captain, and Charlie is out on the loose. And
they think what the fuck did you do? He's like, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
It was the Krites.
Yeah, it's just,
They're like, what the fuck's a Krite?
Yeah, they're like, what? But, so he basically just kind of goes around. They eventually kind of check out, because they landed at this, facility, so they're checking it out. This movie gave me, major Creepazoid vibes.
Yeah. I will say this is better than Creepazoid.
Well, yeah. I would agree. But there's no baby fight, so...
Why did that go on for so long?
I don't know. But honestly, I mean...
That's the only thing I remember now. No, actually, I remember a decent amount from Creepazoids.
I just remember them, on the computer a lot going,
we're hacking.
Yeah, we're hacking. Where did everybody go? Oh, there's a baby.
I don't. Now that I remember, I didn't mind that movie. It was bad.
No,
I remember you really didn't like that movie.
It was not one of my favorites, but I liked it better than The Killer Eye.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah. But, so...
Oh my god, I haven't watched any full moon movies this year. I gotta change that tonight.
But, so Charlie is basically just kind of explains his backstory. They kind of somewhat believe him, but don't. Then they find, footage on the ship's computer system, which is completely, broken, so they just have to say the opposite of what they intend for,
Yeah, it has, a sarcasm, that doesn't understand, so it's don't do this! I'm not gonna listen to you.
Yeah.
Which is probably, the most comedic the movie tries to go for. This movie doesn't try to be funny.
No.
Which I kind of like. I'm it's just a really weird movie. It's just it's just about a man lost in time, which I love those kind of stories. And, when they do stuff with Charlie, I'm like, this is legitimately sad. What the fuck? Mm-hmm. The scene where it's when he realizes that, all his friends and family are dead. Brad Brown, if he's still alive, is, 90 or something.
Yeah.
There's sad things, all over the place. Most of his friends that were adults are dead, Mm-hmm. He doesn't know where Ugg is. And then there's the scene where the kid's you've been to Earth? What's it like? Because it also, there's some fun, subtle world building in this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just man, you should have just... given more focus to Charlie from the beginning.
Yeah, no, I agree. I wish that they would have opened up his shit earlier.
Just 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
He's frozen, 10 minutes in, he's out. And then make the movie about.
Yeah, I feel like this movie kind of overcomplicated itself just a wee bit. It could have been just more Charlie focused and definitely needed to be more critter focused. Because they're not...
If honestly... In this movie, I care much more about the Charlie stuff than I do the critters. If it was, mostly just a drama with Charlie, it would have been fine.
I would have been fine with that, but, I don't know. They didn't play, it didn't feel like they played a crucial role.
No, that's fair. But if we were, honestly... They could have just made a Charlie movie. They could have just done a spinoff without the critters about Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
And I would have been fine with it. But because they're in the movie and they're barely utilized, that's what's, annoying about it.
Yeah. But yeah, so...
But how are you gonna market that? Hey, you remember Critters? Remember this character? We're gonna do a spin-off with him with no one in it.
To be fair, it's a 90s straight-to-video movie, so they could have just been oh, it's a new movie, Charlie, and then been oh, but it's connected to the Critters movies, so...
Charlie McFadden, Bounty Hunter. They could have just called it that.
Yeah, or Charlie X or something. A big throwback to Star Trek. But yeah, yeah, so I'm trying to remember things that really happened. I mean, basically, Ugg shows up, or Commander Tetra.
And he's I don't know that name. When he's Ugg, my friend.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much like that, and he's pretty much just like, we're gonna kill everyone here and take these eggs. He's like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
and he's like, a lot of things have changed, Charlie. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what?
Yeah.
No!
No, I was the same, and I would have been okay with this, but that's the most explanation you get. Things have changed.
I'm actually kind of okay with it, because I think, because I like, you know, people lost in time storylines, I'm kind of okay being on the same page as Charlie, where he's like, he kills Ugg. He has to kill the person that was probably his best friend that was still alive, and he has no explanation. Like, I think thematically it's like really powerful and really sad. Which is weird, because this movie, like I said, I think this movie is the weirdest of all the Critters movies, because it doesn't make tonal sense to fit in here, and I think that's why I kind of like it.
Yeah, I can kind of get that, but also at the same time, it's like I grew up on these movies, and I had never seen this one, so like for years it was just like, I viewed Charlie and Ugg as like,
well, and that's why I think it's so impactful. I'm like, what the fuck?
I know, but
we don't get an explanation. It's ripped from us.
I know. It just feels like such a fucking cruel stab to leave the...
I think that's why I kind of like it.
Yeah, that's why I can't hate it, but I don't know if... That's why I'm still like, I don't know how I feel about it.
No, that's fair. But maybe it's because I hadn't seen them, but I just immediately grew attached to them and watched them back to back. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I liked it. Maybe if I had grown up and never thought about it, like Charlie and Ugg, Charlie. And then he's like, I'm going to kill you. Like, and he just shoots him. He's like, you're right. Things change. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then it pretty much ends.
Yeah.
Like they leave.
And then it's like, you're left. So basically, the backstory we haven't explained, the motive for Ugg, there's like a cloning thing that's made for like trying to design like the universe's most alpha predator. But like every like species they've tried to like replicate on it has like failed, because it's like it's not the fucking predator enough. So they're like, we need the Krites. We need the Krites for this one. So that's, but basically the Krites just start doing it themselves.
No, we don't need you.
Yeah, they're like, don't worry, we got you. And they're just in there cloning themselves, where they all just kind of stay confined to a room except for the two that hatch at the very beginning. They're like the only two you see really kind of going around. And it's like, one of them dies, and then they might both die. I don't know. I honestly don't remember.
I think one of them dies right at the end.
Yeah, maybe. Because I know the one like chases them onto the ship, and then Charlie shoots the ship, and they're like, Charlie, you fucking
He's idiot. Like, well, just go get another ship. And they're like, there are no other ships here. We're in a space station. He's like, and I kind of like this. He's like, we're in a space station. It'll be fine. They're like, there are no other ships. He's like, why didn't anyone tell me that before?
Yeah, this is before Ugg shows up, right?
Ugg shows up like at the very end. So,
okay.
Because then they just steal Ugg's ship pretty much at the end, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, this is our ship now.
Oh, Brad Dourif dies. Yeah.
How does he die?
Ugg kills him.
That's right. Yeah, like, Ugg's like, hey, and Brad Dourif's like, hey, give me my money. Ugg just fucking shoots him or whatever.
Yeah, basically Ugg's like, no, this is going to be a takeover. And then Brad Dourif's like, and he's just like,
kill this guy.
Yeah. But yeah, and then the critters are basically just left at the space station, and they've got no ship, but they be cloning. But what will they eat?
Each other. The ship.
All those pills from the pharmacy.
Oh, no. But, yeah, it's like... I really like what this movie's going for with Charlie. And it's just like, just like a mishmash of ideas. Like 3, but I like the ideas more in this. And I like the setting. I like this like decrepit like space station kind of just floating in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of elements that I like about this one.
And I do like that final confrontation a lot. And I like it more. As much as I know you don't like it because of that, I like it more because of that.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like...
Yeah. It's like, one of those things that I understand from a reality point of view, but like, I feel like we, the audience, should at least know. I could understand keeping Charlie's character in the dark, but it's like, I don't know. It kind of starts to feel like lazy writing to me in a certain aspect, where it's like, I don't know. It kind of feels like a first draft script at a lot of points. But, yeah.
This is a character assassination of Doug.
Yeah, what the fuck? I like Doug.
Rian Johnson, what the fuck?
God damn it. You broke my critters. But, no. Yeah, it's fine. I like it. I like it infinitely more than the two we're about to talk about.
Would you say, do you like this more or less than the third one?
I'd probably say I like it a little less than the third one. Yeah.
I would give this one a 5. I like it more than 3. I like it less than 2. But I really like what it's going for. I'll probably rewatch this one in the future.
I'll probably
rewatch all 4.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for watching our Critters episode, everyone. I think we're all... Oh, no.
Yeah.
I think it's A New Binge came out first. So, A New Binge and then Attack.
Okay.
They both came out in 2019. And I remember when they were coming out, I'll be like, maybe I should watch these movies. If I watched any of the newer ones first, I don't think I'd ever, like, want to watch. Let's see if I can do this without breaking everything. We good? Yeah.
Okay.
New Binge. One of the worst things I've seen in a long time.
I was thinking about that because, like, going into this, because it was a Shudder exclusive, so I was like, it's going to be on Shudder. And then I looked on Shudder, and I was like, it is not on Shudder.
I will say this. As bad as this is, I hate what's going on with media in general now. Yeah. Exclusives are getting pulled because they don't want to pay the people that were in them. They don't want to pay to keep the rights for them. There's no legal way to get a New Binge. Regardless of the quality of a film, things should be available. Like, it's not a good practice to have this. HBO's been doing that a bunch. Infinity Train you can't get. Like, there's so many things. Like, this is shitty to do, regardless how shitty of a product. And A New Binge is fucking shitty.
But, yeah, there were times where it had me questioning my stance on this exact topic. And then I was like, no, ultimately, it's still shitty. But, god damn, I hate A New Binge. And part of me is glad that it's not on Shudder, because for the exact reason you just stated, had you fucking been like, oh, I've always heard things about Critters. There's a new Critters show. It's like a reboot. I'll check it out. Oh my god. Yeah, that would be, I don't even know.
Yeah, it's like
catastrophic.
Each episode's like 8 minutes. That's including credits. It's pretty much like
it's a movie.
It's like an hour. It's like less than a movie, but it feels so long. Every episode, I was just like this. Oh
no! I watched that first episode last night, and I was immediately just like, I lost the will to watch anymore. I was just like, I cannot, like, I don't want to do this. And I watched the second episode, and then I was like, I can't watch the third tonight. I will just watch the rest of them sparsely through my shift at work tomorrow.
It's also pretty strange how, like, kind of fat-phobic this is. Like, it's like, oh, this character's fat, and people make fun of him. They go on, like, Tubby or whatever they call him names.
Yeah, his mom's literal pet name for him is Pork Chop.
Pork Chop. I'm like, what the fuck? And then later on, it's like, spoilers for A New Binge. He's half Krite because his mother had sex with a Krite on, like, New Year's or some shit. Yeah. And it's like, no, you're not just fat. You're not just fat, you're also, like, a hideous monster freak. Mm-hmm. That's why you eat so much. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you... Like, that's not okay.
Yeah, and it's just like... Yeah, there's a lot of just, like, little things in this where it's like, oof. Like, I also don't like the constant, like, slut-shaming of his mother, although she is cartoonishly written to be,
yeah, she's like, I'm having sex. Oh, sorry, I'm busy. I'm going to have sex. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, she's written like a shameless character. Yeah. Like, it's just like, oh my god.
But it's just like, oh, it's okay, Mom. It's just, everyone's really mean to each other. Which is the exact opposite feeling I have for the family in the first one.
Yeah.
All the characters in, like, 3, I don't care about any of the characters. All the characters in this one are actively super unlikable.
Mm-hmm. No, they really are. The only character who's probably, like, likable by default is, like, his friend and his love interest.
And they're just, like, paper
thin.
They're not. Yeah. They're just like, we're here to help.
Yeah, we're here to serve these plot beats and to be like these characters.
I guess I don't mind the idea of a critter who speaks English in a funny accent.
Well, he had a little voice box, so that was the justification for that. But that's not the part of that bothers about this. It's just like... But go ahead.
But I mean, like, I'm saying that is maybe the most enjoyable character to watch.
Yes.
Just because, like, he's a critter. He's, like, funny. He's like, I'm a critter. Mm-hmm. Does he have glasses?
No, that's like the pilot or whatever.
Oh, that's right. I do like some of the designs of the critters in this. If I can say one thing.
The concept of their design.
Yeah. Like they look bad. They look like they're from, like, Party City, but...
the Kyoto brothers did not work on these two.
Are they still alive?
Yeah. No, they're doing a lot of the design work for the new Killer Clowns game that's coming out.
You're so excited for that.
I'm gonna check it out because I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space and I have to support any sort of...
I don't think that'll do very well.
I don't...
Like, I'll probably also play it, but I'm like, that's not a very big market.
I'm sure it'll do maybe just about as well as, like... Maybe not quite as well as, like, the Evil Dead Predator game, but, like... Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a pretty big cult movie. Like, so I could see it doing well. Even if people haven't seen the movie, just due to the concept, people seeing it.
I love clowns. It's it.
Yeah, basically. But I'm not super huge into the multiplayer horror games though. Like I don't.
You played Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th is the only one that I liked, and it wasn't even the multiplayer aspect of that game that I liked. In fact, I kind of hated that part at times because it's like really annoying when your survival is based around other people. But
I just want to play a good single player game with like these concepts, like a good single player Friday the 13th game. That'd be fun.
Yeah. But I think the thing that I liked about the Friday the 13th game is when you were actually playing as a survivor, it did feel like you were like in a Friday the 13th movie. Like if you watch like some of those movies, it's like you're playing the game sometimes. It's like really just on the nose and on the mark for that. But then, yeah, sadly,
I played Dead by Daylight for a little bit. I'm like, I don't really enjoy this. I don't like one versus many games for the most part. I like them in board games a lot. But maybe it's because in board games I can choose who I'm playing with. You know? Yeah. And in Dead by Daylight, I'm like, I don't really want to get together with like a group of friends to play. Maybe I just don't have enough friends.
Yes, with those games, it's hard to like gather your friends in to be like, all right, yeah, let's all play this one game that we're all equally interested in, clearly. Yeah. But, yeah.
Well, it's also easier to have, like, a board game, because I own it, so I'm like, you can play. While Dead by Daylight's like, you guys all want to buy this game so we can play it?
Yeah, no, exactly.
But back to A New Binge, something that is worse than Dead by Daylight.
Agreed.
It's like...
It's worse than most things.
It's so bad.
It's... Like, I was scratching my head at, like, Critters Attack because I watched that one first, but, like...
Oh, I watched A New Binge first because I'm like, because I was doing other things that day, I'm like, I can just watch one episode at a time. I mostly watched it. I think I watched, like, episodes 1 through, 8 episodes or 6? I watched 1 through 6, I think, and then I went and did something and watched the last 2. It's, like, kind of shocking. Like, everything looks shitty. The camera quality's shitty. The characters are shitty.
Yes.
And it's like, when I talk about movies and things and shows, I try to be more eloquent in my points, but there's not really a point to doing that here because there's nothing like of substance here. No, it just feels like someone was like, we found these puppets in the fucking garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like got weird like sex comedy vibes from like the 2000s, and it's like that tone doesn't work well for critters at all. Like they call like the critters like hairy balls throughout the movie, and it's like hardy har har, very funny. Oh, your mom's a slut. Oh, this character's fat. Oh, you get into the whole fucking like nice guy. Oh, this is my childhood friend, but she's dating a total jerk face. And I'm just fat and dumpy, so she'll never like me, kind of a plot line, and it's just like, oh my god.
It's okay, because now I look like a horrible monster.
Yeah.
It looks so bad, too.
Dude, yeah, so
I'm like, why did they do that?
What is
the fucking point?
Yeah, it's awful. So basically, the whole plot of this, Gilbert Gottfried's in this, by the way, which I was like, why?
And he dies in episode 2 or something, 3 or something.
I think it's like 3 or something like that.
Because he has a critter. No, he has a parrot. The Krites think he lives there because it turns out, this kid is half Krite.
It's a red herring, which was probably like the most clever piece of writing through all of this. It's like, cool. But I had already figured out that he was a fucking Krite because they did the one scene where they play the noise and scare away all the Krites, and the main character covered his ears. I'm like, I really hope that doesn't mean what I think it does. And it did. And it's like, disgusting. But yes, it turns out the Krites are here on an utmost important mission. One that'll end the war. What war? Who knows? Who gives a shit? It's big. It's happening. And there's only one way to stop it. And that's to find the Krite on Earth. And the whole time you're like, okay, they're looking for a Krite. Oh, they're looking for this real estate agent who sold these people this house, who turns out to be the main character's mom. Okay, and turns out the year 2000, she had sex with a Krite, New Year, or Y2K party, and gave birth to a human Krite hybrid. Something that, oh my god, I never wanted to think could fucking exist. And if it did, I would want it to exist through, like, lab mutations and not a goddamn weird Y2K sex scene.
Yeah, and it's just like when he's like, oh, my teeth fall, I have other teeth. I just thought I had to wear these dentures. I'm like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, no, what? You
that back hair doesn't look
back hair? It's
stupid.
Like, yeah, it goes for the most obvious and just most uninspired jokes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like, this...
I would be more forgiving of this if it felt like there was any passion put into it, but it doesn't feel like...
No.
It felt like an AI fucking wrote this.
Yeah, it just felt like someone...
Write the worst idea possible for a Critters reboot.
Feels like just the Critters rights just landed on somebody's lap, and they were just like, well, okay. Here you go.
Can't wait for Shudder to get the Munchie rights.
I mean, I think Shudder's doing much better now with their original content that they produce.
That's fair.
I think that this was one of the earlier things that they produced.
It was.
It fucking shows. God damn. Yeah, but basically...
it's really bad.
Yeah, it all comes down to like a big hot dog eating contest where the Krites attack because the bounty hunters turn out to be kind of the bad guys. I mean, plot twist, every character in this is the bad guy. Like,
and then they're like, we're going to help you. And then they go down to fight the bounty hunters, but then they just start eating everyone. Uh-huh. He's like, you need to stop. And then he kills everyone.
Yeah. Yeah,
everyone dies.
See, the reason why I thought, like, attacks took place before... Because attacks introduced the concept of, like, sound. Which, by the way, very fucking original. Haven't seen that before in anything. Mars attacks, cough, cough. Which, I mean, yeah, you can rip shit off from a movie, but it was just like so fucking blatant and obvious where they were taking from, and it wasn't like in a cute homage kind of way. It just felt like a fucking rip off.
I think A New Binge was first, but let me check.
Okay, but yeah, fucking yeah.
Well, I don't know. Well, let me see when the dates were, because the first episode did come out in March of 2019. Oh, no, they all came out on the same day. Why did they just...
I don't know. That's a good question. It's like, just cut it into a goddamn 80-minute or 50-minute movie or whatever it is. Who cares? Fucking, yeah, because, I mean, just, why give people the option to stop 10 minutes in? They're going to. Like, I almost didn't come back after that first episode. I was just
You're like, yeah, no, I watched it. You're just lying. Oh, yeah, it was great. I loved it.
Gilbert Gottfried did a really good job in that
Yeah, when
series.
he pulled the sword out and fought Art the Clown.
Yeah, it was great stuff. No, but yeah, fucking... Yeah, so his mom dies, his president dad dies. They all die except for him and his two friends. And
then he asks the girl out on a date, and she's like, think about it. And then it kind of ends out.
Yeah, no, the one kid, turns out he stole the hot dog eating contest check, and he's like, let's bail! And they all bail, and then it's like, you look very ecstatic for someone whose entire family is now dead.
Yeah.
But
I don't think the writers thought about anything in this.
Probably not.
Well, no, his mother was a slut, so he doesn't care.
I mean, I could understand him not being super sad about his mom dying because she was kind of very
horrible
mean.
to him, yeah.
But it seemed like Gilbert Gottfried was nice to him, even if he was kind of a creep.
Yeah. You want a condom?
No, Viagra. Viagra. That's what he kept asking.
Oh, that's...
You want a Viagra? Why are you... Why?
Yeah, really bad. Like a 1 out of 10.
Yeah, no, it is not good.
Pretty irredeemable.
But, yes. This is definitely like... I don't know if it's the worst thing we've watched on the podcast, but it's like, if it were a tier list, it would be at that bottom.
It'd be up there. We should do a tier list. Would you be okay doing a tier list?
I'd be okay doing a tier list sometime.
Just a tier list of everything we've watched real quick. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
This would be there. LaQuisha would definitely be there.
Yeah, no, LaQuisha.
Unplanned would definitely be there.
Yeah. There's got to be other stuff that would be there.
Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas.
See, that would be like the second from the bottom tier, because that one...
No, that one's so fucking rough.
I think the bottom tier is saved for stuff like this, where it's like, oh, this is barely even a movie, yeah. And it hurts.
Well, actually, even that, though, once I said LaQuisha and Unplanned, those are, like, offensively bad, though.
Yes,
like...
This is...
they would need a tier of their own, and then there'd be this, and we'd have like 4 F tiers.
I think you could probably work the bottom tier into a half. That's just, this offended me personally by its existence, and then this is
this offends society. Oh,
yes. So just the 2 halves of the bottom.
There we go.
But yeah, this is fucking awful, and I hated it, and after every episode, I think you
literally messaged me like, I feel like I could feel the hope that I was still sick. You're like, London, please be sick. Please.
I think that this movie is what made you sick.
Maybe.
No,
I watched it before I went. I watched all these before I went on vacation, I'm pretty sure.
It was just lingering there. Wait. But yeah, it was just like, oh no, this was bad. I did not like...
Wait, no, I watched Critters A New Binge like 4 days ago. It feels like forever ago. I immediately threw it in the vault.
That's exactly what I'm going to do now that we're done talking.
Somebody's going to say Critters A New Binge, and I'm going to be like, I have to shoot myself in the head.
Just instant, just like, no.
No! Slightly better. Let's talk about Critters Attack.
Yeah, I mean, comparatively, but...
What? why get Dee Wallace back for this?
I don't know.
She is technically she plays a character called Aunt Dee in this because they couldn't get it right. Yeah, I'm like, why not bring back if you're gonna have a cameo? Where's Charlie?
Yeah, why didn't they bring back Charlie?
Dee Wallace is only in the first movie.
Yeah, it's like I highly doubt.
And she's like one of the less memorable characters in the first movie.
She is, yeah. Yeah, it's like bring back Charlie. Like, what is his act? Is he alive?
I think he's still alive. I hope so.
I also hope so. Charlie Critters. I put Charlo.
Don Keith Opper. What a name. Don Keith Opper. 73 years old. Ooh.
You would have been like 60 or something when I made these, though. Or maybe it would have been like...
It would have been 70.
70, yeah. How does he look today?
I don't know.
Don Keith.
What the fuck is Critters Rehatched?
Did we miss one?
It might be a...
Oh, no.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, yeah, no, he looks fine. He's bald, but, I mean, we'll work with that.
He's bald, yeah.
Apparently he's in a movie called Android.
It's by someone. Who was it?
From 1982, so it's pre-Critters, okay.
Oh, Android he wrote. He was one of the writers on it. I think he plays... he plays a robot, I think.
Let's see. Yeah, he did co-write it.
He hasn't acted in like almost 20 years at this point, but he's in a movie called Infection from 2005, which I haven't watched, but it's by Albert Pune, who's the guy that did like Nemesis and Dollman. Mm-hmm. So I'll probably eventually watch that one. I think he's a pretty small character in that.
Don Keith Opper, if you're watching, you're welcome on the show.
Don Keith Opper, you are criminally underrated. I think you were great. I'm gonna watch the few things you have been in. Exceptional work. You seem like a swell guy too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, someone's vibe really comes out on screen. And I feel like you seem like a swell guy. If you were in this movie, it would have been great. Probably not, but it would have been
better. Yes.
It's just like the Aunt Dee character doesn't really make sense for this, and it just doesn't like... She's just like, it kind of takes the role of like the bounty hunter, like the aliens show up and she's like, I gotta go, and she picks up the gun.
Yeah, I know you haven't seen it. It literally was just like a exact copy of like what they did with fucking Sally's character in Texas Chainsaw 22. Because it's like, she's also not in most of the movie, and then she just kind of shows up at the very end and has like a scene, and it's like, what was the fucking point of any of that?
What did I think of this movie? It's really bad.
Yeah, so...
I guess So, critters are back. Oh, God. They're eating everyone. Oh, no. There's a girl critter named Bianca.
Yeah.
She turns out to be the queen, but she came to stop all the men from eating. And she kills everyone. She kills all the critters. She eats them all.
Honestly, I don't like Bianca, but she's like the least of my problems.
Yeah, no, I think like, I don't mind the idea of like a good critter.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I
think it's a little...
I like her big face. Like, it looks kind of stupid. I like her when she's in the bag. Like, it looks fun. Mm-hmm. That's, I think, maybe what the best thing the movie has going for it. I don't think she's a very good character.
No. But yeah, no, we follow the worst character. Or maybe not the worst.
I don't think Dre is the... Actually, maybe it's the... Dre is a pretty bad character. I think the actress is like really trying and just doing a bad job. But yes, the character, pretty rough.
Yeah, the character is a total fucking asshole. Through every situation, she's just like, I don't know if the movie wants me to be on her side or not, but I'm not. Because it's just like...
She's like, oh, you want me to babysit? And they're like, yeah, I'm trying to help you get into this college. Like, why would I babysit? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. It's just like...
She's like, you haven't called me since college. Yeah, because you're a bitch. Why would I call you?
You probably would just throw shade at her for getting into the college the whole fucking time. It's just like, oh my gosh. But so basically this character, her name's Dee?
Drea.
So Drea is,
Dee is played by Dee. Aunt Dee is in the movie.
Oh, yeah, duh. Anyway, so Drea is trying to get into this college that her mom went to. She lives... Who the fuck is that?
That's the director.
Wow. Huh.
Bobby Miller? Come on!
I mean...
You got handed the Critters franchise?
Did he write it, though? I feel like... Directing...
No, he didn't, Let's see who wrote it.
The direction, it's not great, but it's low budget, and it's not...
The writer of Happy Death Day wrote this, which is fine. Yeah, and the writer of Man of the House.
I never got around to watching that one back in the day.
What?
I know. I was a little too cheapered out by the dozen, or... Cheaper by the dozen to out is what I meant to say.
I was two out of the cheaper of the dozens.
Yep.
Yeehaw.
Me making my word salad again.
Anyway. It's
good. So she's got to babysit the college, like the dean of the college. Or no, she's like in the history department or something.
She's like a higher up, like a higher teacher who's tenured or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. She's a high-ranking person who could theoretically help...
get Drea into college.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately they find Bianca because they go to like the park because Drea's like, I don't want to sit in this house.
They go to the park, but then they don't. They're like, we're going to go to the park. And then they just go walking in the woods.
Yeah, the park. The woods is nature's park.
It's like, what are you guys doing?
Did you forget what you just wrote?
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently so. They were just like, we can't shoot this in a park. There will be too many people around. We got to go to the woods. But, so they go to the woods, and they're like, we found... Oh, I guess it's supposed to be like a... What are those things called? Like a
national park.
Like a national park, because it's got some park rangers there.
That's right. But that's kind of weird when you say, you want to go to the park? Nobody's like, yeah, the national park, you want to go to hike? That's not what they fucking mean. You want to go swing on a bunch of fucking swings or the monkey bars.
Right? It's just like, the national.
You want to go to the park? Go to the Walmart parking lot.
Yeah.
Park is in the name.
Oh, ooh. But, so they find Bianca in the woods and they're like, she's hurt, we gotta take her home. And that
Dre's like, what the fuck is that thing?
Absolutely not. This is the one point in the film where I'm like, no, I agree with Drea.
She's like, I don't know what the fuck that thing is.
It's a wild animal. And it's like, don't bring that to the college professor's house. But
they do anyway.
Yeah, they talk her into it, so she's like, alright, fine. Or no, they're not going to bring it to the house at first. They're going to go take it to the park rangers, which has been attacked by Krites.
Yeah. Everyone's in there's dead. They're like, I don't know what to do. Like, we got to take it home. So they do.
And Krite just goes straight through her trunk, leaves a little cartoonish hole. They're like, what the fuck was that? All right, let's get out of here. So, yeah, they go back to the professor's house, and they get attacked by the Krite. And then it, destroys their car. So they're like, we have to walk to the police station where my uncle works, who they live with. And he's like a no-good drunk, and he's just kind of like an asshole. They're like, there are aliens, and I guess we forgot to mention that the little brother has like a alien podcast fascination. So he's just like, hardy har har, very funny. And they're like, no, like, they're real aliens. And he's like, hardy har har, very funny. And she's like, why won't you believe us? All right, fine. We'll go talk to my boss.
She's like, here's a picture. Restaurant. And he just puts it in his pocket. He's like, no. Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with you?
It's like, god damn.
So they go talk to the sushi chef. Yeah. Yes. He's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, they don't even bother to show Bianca. She's like...
Yeah, they don't, but they show the sushi shop, and she's like, what is that?
Yeah, so he's like, okay. Yeah, you can borrow my van. So they borrow his van, and they go to the college, where I guess there's like an accordion... Not an accordion, a bagpipe guy who like sits at the guard shack who's got a big crush on Drea. Yeah. And I
do like the scene where like, oh, he's playing and he sounds so much better.
Yeah.
And then it's just a critter eating his corpse. I'm like, that's good.
Yeah. It doesn't make much sense, but
sure.
It's something. I think my favorite part of the movie happens shortly after that. So they just kind of like, they see that and they're like, ah, and they run to the nearest like just door, I guess, and they end up in like the dorm area where like, or the common area where like, her former BFF who got her the babysitting job, like, is staying along with, like, a guy that she met while dropping off the sushi that, like, kind of set the chain of events in motion. And he's just like, what? All you gotta do is go get the keys?
He takes off his shirt. You're like, why are you taking off your shirt? Like, there are scenes, like, this scene, at the very least, I thought was funny.
This is, like, probably the best scene in the movie.
He's like, I got it. He's running. And he's like, I got this.
Yeah, and you see him running off screen, and then they're just like, what's that sound? And you just see him running back, and he's being chased by a critter ball. He's like, oh! And he's just like, oh, no! He's like, realizes, like, oh, shit. I thought that was, like, pretty good. Yeah. That's like the only reason why I would ever want to rewatch anything from this movie.
That's again. Fair, you know. But, you know, there are also other things I don't think are... Yeah, you know, there are scenes that aren't... Like, the bagpipe stuff I don't think is too bad.
There's the one scene later on where they're driving in the cart and they're like, why is that one critter just staring at us? And it's just like a shitty little critter with red eyes just across the field just staring them down. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, it's the Mars attacks thing. So they're like, the uncle discovers through his police siren that, loud, high-pitched noises makes them explode. So he's like, I'm gonna pass this information to, I keep wanting to call her Deandra. Drea. To Drea, like, in my final moments before I die. Because he ends up getting attacked by a bunch of critters along with the rest of the town. And she sits on this information for, like, way too goddamn long. And there's a point where the brother brings it up, and it's like, did she tell you that? Did we see that? I don't think we did. Maybe I just wasn't paying close enough.
Remember when you told me off screen that when you...
Yeah. This movie, like, has characters acknowledge, like, the writing flaws. Like, it does this weird meta thing sometimes where it'll be like, oh, we're making this really bad decision? Oh, okay. I fail to think of any specific examples because I watched it a few nights ago, but I remember thinking that. And it's like, But yeah, that moment's probably like the most clear example of it, where it's like, oh yes, you remember that thing? It's like, oh yeah. It's like almost Jack Frost 2 levels of like, yeah, that scene earlier, he did a good job pretending not to be that guy. He's like, I wouldn't know that. I wasn't there for that. It's just like, oh yeah, you weren't. That's right. It's just like, what? But, yeah. So they kind of just go around the campus. They're trying to break into the professor's office because she's got a satellite phone and they can use that to call for help. And, like, yeah, basically they just kind of get there. The office is, like, overrun by creds. I don't remember. Is the professor implied that she was, like, dead in there? Or is that a different character that they found dead in there? They found someone dead in, like, that section where they have to go through her office, but it also seems like a big section. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know if that was supposed to be her or not.
No, because I think she's at the end.
No, she's not. The movie abruptly ends.
That's right.
Because I remember I'm like, they didn't resolve any of that college shit? What the fuck? But I'm trying to think about how this movie does end, though. I just remember it abruptly ends. Because I know they're like, we can't wait for anyone to come save us. We're all in this together. And then they reiterate that point, like almost like the evil dies tonight from like Halloween Resurrection.
But then D just shows up.
Like, no one's going to come save us. And then D shows up and
kills them.
And then she finds Bianca, and then Bianca helps kill them all. And then
because Bianca's just like kind of hulks out.
There is something like the actual ending of the film. She's like, all right. She tells the two kids that she babysits. She's like, you go wait there. She goes with her brother and D, and I think they're like gonna kill something. And then I think it just like cuts to fucking black. I honestly don't remember how this movie ends.
I don't know. And I don't want to know. I don't give a shit.
Critters attacks.
What happens? I just watched this movie.
I did too. That's the thing. So it's like, no. Oh no, the only plot is very bare bones on Wikipedia. Let me check out IMDb. See if I can find out what happened at the end of Critters Attack.
Oh, he's the reason. I forgot. Drea's uncle reveals that he's the reason that her mother died or whatever.
Because he was too drunk to go pick her up that night. Which I don't know if that's really his fault. Like, I wouldn't say that's any more his fault than it was Drea's fault in the first place. If anything, he did the more responsible thing in that situation because he was shit-faced. I wouldn't send fucking my shit-faced brother to go pick up my child. Like,
yeah.
What? Yeah, I don't fucking remember. Was 20-year-old Dre? I don't know. Who cares?
Something happens. They're gonna go do something.
It literally ends on just the most anticlimactic note, and it apparently failed to leave an impression beyond that.
So. And I watched this 2 days ago. I will say I do think it's not insufferable. I think it's really bad, but there are moments I like. Mm-hmm. I think the cast is at least doing something, at least in comparison to A New Binge.
Yeah, this is one I could still see myself potentially if I was to watch the other four. At the end of it, if I was still feeling up to it, I might be able to convince myself to rewatch this one with them.
Because there are things that are fun in this.
Yeah, it's not wholly bad. It's kind of
just really forgettable.
Yeah, but I'm never watching A New Binge again. That's for fucking sure. That one really fucking sucked. I mean, this one wasn't great, but
unfortunately, I'll say that A New Binge is probably more memorable in how much I hated it.
Yes.
While this one was that was a nice palate cleanser. It's pretty terrible, but
yeah, wasn't quite as bad.
Yeah, because at least there were scenes where I'm like, that's fun.
Yeah, there were some jokes that made me laugh. So it's okay. This is
it at least feels like they were trying to make a Critters movie, you know? It's bad, but
the effort's there.
Yeah, the effort is there. So it's I can't hate the movie. Well, I can, but can't hate it as much.
No, But, Critters, A New Binge. Or not A New Binge. Attack.
I would give this one probably a 3 out of 10. I think it's worse than all the other movies, but it's better than the shitty web series.
Yes.
Speaking of shitty web series, remember Splatter?
I do.
That would probably be around where A New Binge is. That one's pretty rough.
I think I'd rather rewatch.
Splatter's only
shorter.
25 minutes,
significantly shorter. And, I mean, it's got Corey Feldman, and there's some
Tony Todd's in it, right?
I don't remember him being in it, but
I thought he's
if he was, that I might actually rewatch that just for that, just because I love me some Tony Todd. But yeah, no. Critters: A New Binge did not have Tony Todd, so I will not be watching
that's Tony Todd, isn't it?
I don't remember him being in there. Who did he play? I don't I remember
Spencer
any of the
Pope? I don't,
characters.
don't you remember Spencer Pope?
I remember his weird funeral video and the overall kind of gimmick, and I remember a scene where someone's in a telephone booth and they get electrocuted. It's the only thing I remember.
He might be the producer? I don't remember. I think he's the manager. I don't know. But yeah, I guess watch this movie if you want. But just don't watch A New Binge.
Yeah, don't.
I guess if you want to. But guess what? You have to steal it.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck?
Good luck finding a torrent of it. I tried for 2 days, and then I was I'll just ask him where he watched it. Probably watched it somewhere.
Just found it on a random website. Hell yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, and it's surprisingly good quality.
Yeah, I was saying.
Yeah. But, yes.
All right, Thomas. The bag? No.
No.
What are we watching?
Okay. So, we're going to watch...
Will it be better than A New Binge?
I most assuredly. I know you love one of these movies. And I haven't watched either of them. So we're going to do a little bit of a J-horror dive. We're going to watch Houseu, which I have not seen yet. So
I just rewatched that 6 months ago. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I watched it for my birthday. So.
Are you finally watching it again?
Yeah. Okay. I love that movie. That movie is... Let's check my list real quick. That is number... 53 on my top 100 movies right now.
Oh, nice. And we're going to watch... I think this might be from the same director as Cure. I'm not entirely sure. You might want to fact check me on that. But the main reason why I want to pick this one is because it eventually led to the Resident Evil game being made. And that is Sweet Home from 1989.
Yeah, that is by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, which I've heard great things about Sweet Home. Yeah. I'm very excited to watch it.
I don't know if you can rent that one, but I found a subtitled upload on YouTube, so you can watch it there.
Yeah, I have loved both the movies by Kiyoshi Kurosawa I watched.
I need to watch Pulse, but I really liked Cure.
Yeah,
so.
I liked Pulse probably just as much. It's a very different movie, but really sad. Both of them are really sad.
Yeah, no, I like good sad horror. There's not a whole lot of it out there that's done very well, so it's nice when there are some who can.
Okay. So House and Sweet Home.
Yes.
Sounds groovy to me.
Yeah, good Japanese horror house double feature. Because they both have house or home in the title.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds groovy. Thanks everyone for watching another episode of Screen Weens. If you don't tell your grandmother, I'm gonna rip your heart out of your fucking chest.
You don't tell your fucking grandmother about this show, I'm gonna make you watch Critters: A New Binge.